Hey, everybody. It's time for another episode of Grant Draws. Tonight, you know what? Would you mind, Aaron, telling me how to pronounce your last name so that I don't butcher it?
Uh, Wroblewski.
Aaron Wroblewski. Is that how you, did I say
Yeah.
it right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Sorry, I think we started about 2 minutes late because we had a little bit of technical issues ahead of the show, but nothing life threatening, right?
Nope. Just logging into my computer. Took forever.
So, as always, we are sponsored by the Independent Creator Directory. If any of you guys are interested, basically, the Internet Creator Directory is the Independent Creator Directory is basically like the Internet Movie Database, but for independent creators. Um, you'll find writers on there, artists. They've even started like coders. It's a neat little website. And if you're interested in joining that, talk to Joe Bachman. In fact, Joe Bachman might even be in the chat. I don't know if he is or not. So we're going to go over my Kickstarter real quickly. My Kickstarter is still in pre-launch. I'm going to put the link in the comments, and then we will go over Aaron's Kickstarter. Your Kickstarter is live, correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay. I'll discuss that in just a moment. So, League of Cryptids number 3. In this one, this is kind of where the poop starts to hit the fan. Or I guess I can say shit. I don't know why I said the poop hits the fan. But yeah, so for those of you who haven't heard about League of Cryptids yet, it is the idea behind it is that cryptids are ancient aliens who are put here to protect and help humans develop, and they have to fight off an alien invasion. And in issue 3, it kind of starts to go a little bit more in depth into who might be the mastermind behind this alien invasion.
Cool.
And the spiel that I always give is, if you guys please can follow, just click notify me on launch, because that doesn't cost you anything and it doesn't obligate you to back the comic when it's out, but it does help me with the algorithm. So next we will talk about. Actually, I hate to say this, Aaron. You're gonna have to tell me how to pronounce the name of your comic.
It's Enenra.
Enenra. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna copy. Oh, you know what? Do you have a shorter link? Because for some reason mine is like super huge.
I can give you one sec. Or you can do. Oh, wrong one.
Oh, you put it in the private chat. I'm sorry. I'll put both. I'll tell you what. I'll put both links in the comments. Does that sound good?
Yep, that sounds great. Yeah, we just lost a backer. It was 60 like a couple of hours ago.
That always sucks, right?
Yeah.
So you have 11 days to go, and you're a little over the halfway point. So I think you can still do this.
I'm hopeful. It's not looking the greatest, but I'm hopeful. The stress is real.
Do you want me to play? You know what? Before I back it, you want me to play the trailer?
Sure.
Cool. Looks cool.
Thanks.
So, is there anything you want to tell us about the comic book that the trailer didn't? I realize usually, I realize after I played the trailer, usually they have the creator explain the project before you play the trailer because now this is all going to seem redundant. But if you want to explain what the book is?
Yeah, Anendra is a apocalyptic horror. It's both a pre and post, where the first 6 to 8 pages is a glimpse into the future, following Survivor and his trusted companion Sam as they travel through a apocalyptic world that has, is changed for the bad. There's a lot of mutated monsters, but then the main body of the story is set in the present as a team of doctors works to understand a global virus. And as the storyline progresses, the main body catches up with the future until there's a 16 issue storyline. So the last like 4 issues are like in the future, and they've kind of caught the storyline's caught up.
So I know you and I belong to the same comic book group, and one of the first things that I remember about this comic book was one of the first things that really made this stand out was the art.
Yeah,
Um, do you want to talk about who's doing the art for
yeah,
this?
yeah. The artwork is phenomenal. He's Ezekiel. He does my Blood and Fire, Ice and Bone series as well. I've worked with him for many years. This was the first series we actually worked on together. Because originally the series was pitched as a TV series. Got an agency interested. Didn't get much traction, but one of the agents actually thought it'd make a kick-ass graphic novel, and they had Ezekiel on their books, and we kind of hit it off really well. The first issue took so long to do is because he actually drew it off a TV script. I have streamlined the process since then, so it is actually
Uh,
a comic strip now.
he
But
had to like sit down and figure out uh, like okay, this much action can take place in one panel.
yeah,
This much action can take place in the next panel.
yeah, it took a while,
Yeah.
but
So
yeah,
now
it's
you're
more
doing that part
streamlined
of
now.
the job.
Hmm?
Now you're doing that part of the job for him.
Trying to, yes, yeah. So it's a lot more streamlined. But he kicks ass with his the artwork is amazing. You can actually download issue 1 for free on the campaign page for
Oh,
anyone
cool.
new. Yep. Uh, yeah, so there's a lot of great rewards, a lot of add-ons. You can get everything signed by myself. So yeah, there's a lot there. Even a little even a little plushie.
You know, this is so embarrassing. I was sitting there scrolling through the thing, and then I realized that uh, I was on a different tab than the one that was showing. So I'll start from the beginning. Um, yeah, there's lots of artwork on the Kickstarter page. Like I said, I put the link in the chat. Please, guys, check it out. Because, like I said, you're a little over halfway, and I think you can totally. This is totally doable.
I'm hopeful. This one's been a struggle, but then my last Kickstarter was a bit of a struggle too. So it's, I mean, issue 6 funded in the last 30 seconds of the campaign.
Um,
I was, I was, I was jumping for joy, but my heart was racing a bit.
so it funded in the last 30 seconds, and it
Yeah.
wasn't you like coming up with like a dummy
Oh no,
account.
I was panicking because I was trying to make an account to back it to push it over, and it wouldn't work. So I was panicking, and then it went over the funding, and like, oh my god, because I was at dinner with my wife, and I was trying to have a conversation while doing it at the same time.
Yeah, I can see why that would be stressful.
Yeah.
So
I
let's
also,
see. Oh, go
yeah,
ahead.
the Ruckus is an Aberdeen Scottish band. One of
Okay.
my friends is the drummer.
Okay.
They've kindly they did it on the last campaign, and this campaign they're offering a free song. So the it's a little 30-second clip of the song. It's like they're a rock
Do
band,
you want me to
and
play it?
yeah, go for it. They kick ass.
It's coming on like a dirty bomb. It's the point of no return. Get through the reach, so you rip it by the skates like a fire starter ready to burn.
Cool. So is this? You see all my weird wrestling videos that I watch. Um, so is this song specifically written for the comic book, or is
No, it's
this?
just one of their songs. They've because they gave 2, and I was gonna use the second one, this one, as a stretch goal on the last campaign, but obviously it only funded it towards the end, so I never got a chance to use it. So now everyone gets a chance to get it for free as and when, fingers crossed, we fund.
Yeah. So guys, please just take a few minutes. I put the link in the chat. Please go and check it out. And I would like to see what the people in the chat are saying about Inenra. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Yes.
Dan saying good evening. Houston, Dave. Hi, Houston. I think this is your first time watching. Thank you so much. And he said chair. I think that's a reference to a video Carl made. And Carl is saying hello to everybody as well. Donna's saying hi. Donna's saying good evening. Houston, Dave is saying first time. Oh, yep. Just exactly what I just said. And he said that he subscribed. Thank you so much, Dave. Yes, and that reminds me, everybody, please take a minute. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Which Donna
I
is
can
reminding
subscribe.
everybody, the very next chat she's saying, don't forget to like and share, folks. I know you're subscribed. Donna is saying hi, Grant, and welcome, Aaron. Thanks, Donna. Carla's saying, welcome, Dave. Hope you like it. It's about comic books. Yes. My show is all about comic books. So here's a link to my Kickstarter. here's the big long stupid link. I don't know why. I don't know why that happens sometimes. But Aaron sent an easier link to follow to his site, and then this is a link to your website. I'm assuming.
No, it's a link to the web to the Kickstarter as well. I tried to.
Oh,
Yeah, I tried the domain path. Sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't. Like I put it on like Facebook, and it doesn't come up. I go back into the same post and save it, and then it pops up. It's like I don't understand. It's weird, but it should work.
so Donna is saying that she thinks the trailer is cool.
Thank you. The power of PowerPoint.
Carl said that he thinks it looks scary. That's all right because there. I'm sure there are people in the chat who like stuff. And Trey says I would have passed out from stress.
it's a horror. I wouldn't say it's scary. I try not to make it like too gory, if that's tasteful rather than anything.
Yeah. And so Dave is saying howdy again. So okay, so you said that this started out being a TV show.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
So now were you a comic book guy, or was this more a situation where you wanted to do a TV show and you thought, oh, okay, well maybe I'll do a comic book instead?
Yeah, I was never really much of a comic book guy in the beginning. I was more anime, kind of either TV shows like X-Men, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Do you ever remember Mask? I don't know if it was over here in the
I
States.
do remember Mask.
Yeah, that kicked ass. And then I got into like full on anime, which was like I think my first anime I ever watched was Akira and like Ninja Scroll, and they just got me hooked.
Oh,
So yeah, I was more kind of that medium, because I never even thought about writing it as a script for a comic until the agency mentioned it, and I got working with Ezekiel, and then I kind of went to the Kickstarter to help fund, because comics ain't cheap to make.
exactly.
And then pretty much 95% of the comics I actually own are Kickstarters. I don't have any DC. I don't have any Marvel. The only mainstream I have really is the Expanse. They did and they're doing a current one now, which I backed. Their kind of sequel, spin-off kind of graphic novel, and Saga. I've got a couple of volumes of those.
Oh, okay.
I'm kind of slowly building up. I've got the first two volumes, and I'm kind of building it like as and when I have enough money to pay for it.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't have any mainstream stuff, so I kind of came in comics through the side back garage.
Yeah, I mean, I always try to push comic books as a medium that people who want to do something independently can, because I'm like you said, I mean, you're trying to do a TV show, and it can be really hard to get money to do a TV show, but obviously it's a lot
Oh yeah,
easier
yes.
to do.
It's a hell of a lot cheaper to do a comic series than a TV, but it's actually very similar visually. That's how I write it. It's like, well, as you're writing a TV series, you're writing what the camera would see, and whether lead the camera to certain angles or certain shots. But again, it's up to the director to what he wants to do in his flair. But when you're writing a comics book, you're using the panels. So it's very similar in how you set the panels up, how you think the artist is going to do it. So to me, it's the mediums are very, very similar.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, for me, if you want to show like a house blowing up on a TV show, there's lots and lots of permits. You have to hire stuntmen, people who know how to blow stuff up. Then you have to be careful that you don't, make the explosion too big. But if you're doing a comic book, all you have to do is tell the artist, like, draw it this way.
Yeah, blow that guy up right now.
Exactly.
Yeah, I always like watching the behind the scenes, especially for like House of Dragons, and like the scene. I don't know if you've watched it, where the dragon torches everybody on the cliff face inside the kind of dragon home where they pick the
Yeah.
riders and stuff. I mean, the background of like how they shot that, had all the stuntmen in the suits and that special gel that actually sets them on fire but protects them at the same time. It's freaking weird, but it's freaking awesome.
Wouldn't that be like, man, I would be so scared to death, right?
Oh yeah, fuck that! I don't. They can't pay me enough to get there to do that. No chance.
Isn't that crazy? And I always hear like actors say, I insisted on doing my own stunts. And I always think, God, if I was an actor, I would be like, get the stuntman in here right away. Like, Jesus. Like I would not be doing any of my own stunts.
Yeah, well, they say that, and then they're actually not doing much in the way of stunt work. So I take that with a pinch of salt. I mean, the stuntmen do a phenomenal job. I mean, only recently they've added them to the like the awards. I think they should have been there from day one. I mean, the stuff they do is insane.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna catch up with the comments again. Carl was saying, so this is the 7th issue. Not
Yes.
bad for just getting started.
Trying. I'm trying.
How
Yeah,
long have you been
seventh issue.
working on this?
Pardon?
How long have you been working on this?
Oh, at least probably 6 years as a series. I try and release one issue a year, primarily because I'm busy with the other projects too. Because my Samurai is finishing hopefully in August. I'm launching issues 3 and 4, which will complete the whole saga. I've got a science fiction horror I'm currently working on in the background. Hopefully launching that possibly next year because I'm just too swamped with everything else.
So I was going to ask you if this was inspired by the pandemic, but
Yeah, I wrote that before. I've got a crystal ball.
So if you've been doing this for 6 years, this must have been pre-pandemic, right?
Yep, yeah, by a few years. So I have that 8 ball somewhere, and I was actually surprised because I needed this virus to spread really quick. And though you don't see it spreading as well, you get like hints and like news bulletins and things like that. You don't really see how quickly it does spread. But then the pandemic happened. I'm like, oh my God, it does spread that quick. It is surprisingly. It was shocking how quickly it spread across the world. And
Isn't that crazy?
yeah, it was an eye opener, and I was like, oh my God, so I'm actually quite truthful in that by accident.
So the saying "truth is stranger than fiction" is actually accurate.
Yeah.
So you thought that there was no way a virus could spread that quickly, and actually in real life they actually could spread quicker than
Yeah.
that. Wow.
Because mine actually is slightly different. So it like traditional medicine doesn't stop it, and it survives long periods of time outside. So if you're if you're infected and you cough onto a surface, and then someone else touches that surface, you're screwed.
So now, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
So now, when you first heard like Oh, so something that I was writing about is actually starting to kind of happen in real life. Was your first thought, um, okay, this is going to be good for my comic book, or this is going to be bad for my comic book?
I thought it was going to be bad because generally people, when they want to read something, they want to escape something, not deep dive more into it.
Yeah.
So, um, luckily, it's not really affected it that much. I mean, I'm on issue 7, so
So
people
sales
seem,
have been steady.
yeah, people seem to enjoy the series. I'm doing my first Comic Con in a couple of weeks at Nashville, so I'll be taking various Enendra issues with me. Hopefully, the volume as well, so that'll hopefully do well. But yeah, it's
Interesting.
people seem to enjoy it. That's all I can say is maybe they've because of things have calmed down now. Hopefully, they'll enjoy it more.
Yeah. But you said that sales have been steady.
Yeah.
Interesting. So all the real life stuff didn't seem to have affected the sales. Interesting. I would also be interesting. So if you do other comic books and then they they start to come true in real life, then actually, you know what? I'm going to turn that into a comic book. I need to write that down. Um, Here, I'm going to write that a comic book creator writes comic books about stuff that happens in real life.
So
And his
hopefully, he doesn't
ideas,
write about an alien invasion or something.
right? Comic book creator has ideas for a comic book, and they come true in real life. I have a little file on my computer where I keep all of my ideas for comic books.
Yeah,
But
I've got a few comics scripted and in the background, just waiting to get artists involved. It's just trying to find the time and the kachinga to do it.
yeah, so at the speed that I'm going at right now, I do about 3 comic books a year. Um, so at that speed, it's probably going to take me about 40 years to do all of the ideas that I have, and that's assuming that I don't come up with any new ideas, which I probably will.
Yep, that's. I'm trying to do 4 a year for 4 different series a year,
Right.
and it's difficult. I mean, I've kind of stopped doing comics after September because A, I need a break, and B, I noticed that if you go into like the Thanksgiving and Christmas period, it's unless you have the fan base, the dedicated fans, of like several thousand, that
Yeah.
you're not going to fund. Because my last campaign I tried during that period failed. Relaunched it this year, and luckily it funded.
So I've heard not to get too deep into like Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Yeah,
But I think if you do like early November, you should be all right.
I mean it's really depending, I think, on your novel and your fan base. I mean, I didn't really have that bigger fan base yet. Um,
Join the club.
so yeah, like most of my campaigns struggle to kind of hit that goal. I think the only ones that don't is the Blood and Fire and Ice and Bone, the samurai. Everyone seems to dig samurai action.
And you
Um,
think that's just because people like samurais?
yeah, yeah. I think I've just hit that kind of niche, very that storyline everyone seems to dig, and it seems to do really well. So I'm hoping when I do 3 and 4 together in August to complete the series, it'll do well, and then that's kind of done. Haha.
So now did that start out as a TV show as well?
No, that started out as a Instagram image that Ezekiel put on his profile, and I commented that's such a cool image. It'd be make a kick-ass character in a samurai book, and he said, "Write one." So I did.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, the first story arc, Blood and Fire, actually wrote itself. It was very quick. I think I wrote it in like a couple of weeks, and then the sequel. It was supposed to be a standalone 3 issues, done. But then I kept going back, thinking, there's maybe something extra to tap into. So I then wrote Ice and Bone, which is a 4-issue arc. So 7 completed. So that's what I'm hoping. 3 and 4 in August will finish everything off. And because people like in Australia, I've got quite a few fans in Australia, and obviously they can't afford to buy each individual issue. It costs more to ship it than it does to actually buy the damn book. So that's why I'm thinking of doing 3 and 4 together to complete the series. So then they can get the whole thing in one go, and then I'll obviously ship it to them. So that's the idea.
Oh, so you do international shipping if somebody wants that?
Yes, I have to do. Always have. It's just expensive at the moment. It's insane. I do offer it if someone wants to buy the books, all of them. All I do have a volume 1. Each 4 issues is a volume. So you can get that if you want to have all the 4 combined. There is slightly bigger as well. I do my prints 8 by 10.5, so it's magazine size. So it's just that, even though it's like maybe an inch or so, but it just the artwork sings, and I always prefer to do it like slightly bigger.
Huh. Yeah. See, I used to do international shipping, and for me, what I found was, man, you make one little mistake, kind of figuring out international shipping, and you can, like, a project that was in the red is all of a sudden in the black. You know what I mean? Or did I get those
Mm.
two confused?
Yeah, no, in the red's bad, in the black's good.
But yeah,
It's difficult. I mean, I try and be conservative with obviously the shipping, especially, but if they pay for the shipping, then and like I said, even shipping into Europe is more than the actual book itself. And some
isn't that
people
crazy?
some people want it, so they prefer the physical copy. So I don't want to deny them what they want. I mean, even there was my last the last Enenra campaign. I had to pause sending 3 or 4 comics to Canada because the Canadians had some kind of strike for their postal service or something like that. So it was like $45 to send a comic to Canada. So I messaged them,
Isn't
was
that
like, okay,
crazy?
so it's either $45 to get it now, or you can wait and I'll send it later. So the other said, wait.
Wow, isn't that crazy?
Yeah. It was like I think it was like 3 or 4 weeks. They were just it was like insane price, but it died down. So I sent them after it was back to normal price.
So I have a couple more comments here from the peanut gallery that I'm gonna get through. Joe Bachman is saying, always nice to see folks from my show come over to this one. So Joe does a show that's on before our show. I believe he's still on hiatus though. And as I was saying, Joe is the guy who created the Independent Creative Directory. So if you want to go check out that and maybe get your own profile on the Independent Creative Directory, you can
Sure.
contact Joe about that. Houston is saying storyboarding in comics. Yeah, if you ever look at storyboards for comic books, it does look like a film or or I'm sorry, it looks like a comic book. And of course, there's always been um, kind of overlap between people who do storyboards and people who do comic books.
Yeah.
Famously, Bernie Wrightson worked on Ghostbusters. I'm trying to think what else. There's somebody who worked on Raiders of the Lost Ark. They're a famous comic book artist, but I can't remember his name off the top of my head. So Joe is saying that he's going to do his show sometimes. The Monday night show is still not a regular thing that will be back at this point. It will be most Mondays nights soon, though. Okay, cool.
Cool.
Yeah. So you said that you wanted this comic book to be a TV show. Are you going to try to get the comic book adapted?
I'm kind of waiting until it, concentrate on the actual comic itself. Maybe in the future I'll relook at it. I have plenty of material. I had to dampen it down for the actual comic itself. So I have possible kind of spin-offs, not really spin-offs, but kind of maybe like a one-shot of various scenes that I can't put in the comics, but it's in the background. Like there's how the virus starts in issue 1 is a British Airways airliner arrives at Heathrow, and all communications black. You can't. There's no way of communicating with it, and it's allowed to land remotely. But I have the story of what happens on that flight from when it leaves Hong Kong, which is where the second story arc takes place, to when it lands in Heathrow. So I've got that segment all written out, kind of outlined. So I could turn that into like a one-off kind of one shot, maybe in the future. I don't know. But like that, I've got a lot of details of because it's supposed to be a 8-issue, an hour each TV series. So I had to kind of squish a lot of it together and take out of quite a bit. So the first 4 issues is set in Heathrow, following the main aircraft as it lands, and the doctors follow the path of the flight back to where it originated. So they follow it back to Hong Kong, where it came from, and then while they're in Hong Kong, they try and figure out how the virus gets onto that flight, which there's like 1 passenger. So then that leads them to the next story arc and finding the source. No spoilers.
Yeah. So you kind of touched on something that I was kind of wondering, which is how do you figure out like how many pages of a comic book translates to like how many minutes of a TV show or
Well, writing any script, TV or film, because I've done both. Usually it's 1 page a minute. So when I first wrote my first feature film, it was 257 pages. It was a beast. So I turned that
what is
into
that? That's like 3 hours, right?
yeah. It's never going to happen. It was like a science fiction film. It's like never going to happen.
You
So
could turn that into a miniseries.
I turned it into a novel. So I'm hoping
Oh.
to maybe launch that at some point. It's just finding the time. It's mainly with novels because they take so long to write, and then you have to get it edited, proofread, concept edited. There's a lot involved. Probably more expensive than actually doing a comic.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I don't know. I've never sat down and written a novel, but I have friends who have done it, and it doesn't seem fun. It doesn't seem fun to me to go through that process, and also, like when you're done, it seems to me like the amount of time investment in a comic book is way less than in a novel.
Yeah.
So for me, like if somebody says to me, "Hey, check out this novel that I wrote," that's a lot less appealing than if somebody says, "Hey, check out this comic book that I wrote."
Yeah, because you have to write out the description, so it's a completely different form of writing where you have the visual of the artist to make your your words come to life. Where as the writer in a novel, you have to do it all yourself, and you have to write it in a way that's not boring or repetitive.
Yeah, and I mean, and as I was saying that, I realized I probably offended a bunch of my the people in my audience because Dan Hollifield is a novelist. Carl Witzman is a novelist. Donna is a novelist. So they're probably all like, screw you guys. We're not going to back either of your Kickstarters. They don't seem petty like that.
I'm trying to be a novelist. It's just trying to find the time to get it edited.
Well, I guess the thing that's nice about doing a comic book is that you can outsource a little bit.
Yeah,
Carl
and it's a lot cheaper to outsource than because when you have different because in the novel side you have so many different types of editors that you need, and not all of them do the same thing. So and it's like finding one to do all of them can be cheaper, but it also could lead to mistakes because they've edited everything. You can't really use them to proofread it because they're proofreading their own work, and it's kind of difficult to do that. So you're going to have to then pay someone else to get proofread, and it's trying to find someone A who does your genre, B is good, and C is actually legit and not a scammer, because there's quite a few of those out there.
So Donna's making a really good point. If you're looking for an editor, go to indiecd.org, and I always get this right. I always get this wrong. So let me check and make sure I have this right. Yes, indiecd.org. If you are looking for an editor, the Independent Creative Directory has a lot of people on there. You can check and ask. So
okay. Do that. Cool.
Always be promoting, right?
Yeah. Hey, it helps me. I'm copying it.
Cool. Joe Bachman is saying, yep, that is the correct link. Thank you for being here to verify that, Joe. Yeah, so what's next for you other than the obvious answer of Enenra 8?
Yeah. Enenra 8, hopefully, if this launches, this funds, then that will be next year. Before that, I'm doing the Ice and Bone issues 3 and 4 in August. Finishing that complete series. And then I've got Pillars of Creation, which is my science fiction horror, which is like Aliens, Event Horizon, that kind of vibe I'm going for.
Oh.
That hopefully launches. I'm aiming actually come January 2026 because I would love to do it this year. I mean, I know Caleb Addy is doing the artwork and he's itching to get into it. I'm just exhausted. I really am tired. Kickstarting is stressful and tiring. And this is my third one this year. And then technically it'll be like 3, 4, and 5 with Pillars, with Ice and Bone. I'm just exhausted and I really need to kind of give it because it's a new series, I need to give it my all. And then after that, hopefully coming back for Amor Patrice 3, which is my supernatural horror. So if you like exorcists, exorcisms, The Nun, that kind of supernatural about possession and demons, that's my other series. I do a lot of horror. I just realized I do a lot of horror with one form or another.
That sounds awesome. It's great that you're still getting your stuff out there.
Yeah. Amor Patrice was a bit more difficult because it's very niche. I just haven't tapped into that kind of horror fan base yet. I need to. But issue 3, I'm currently waiting for pages from Hernan Gonzalez, who's doing the internals, and he's awesome. It's black and white, so he does amazing things with shadows. It's incredible what he does. But he's busy finishing off a series right now, so I'm hopefully next in line. He sent me one page, and it looks great. he can't fail if he tried. But yeah, once that's done, shipped, I'll be doing starting number 3 next year, and then back to Anendra number 8, halfway through the series.
Sounds like you have a lot of you're juggling a lot of balls at one time.
Yep, it's good that most of it is completely written. I mean, Amor Patris is completely finished. That's 10 issues. Anendra, the current story arc is finished, written. I'm currently writing the 3rd story arc as we speak. I kind of dabble in it as I get the inspiration. Because usually I write the first, because the issue is like different time zones, so I write out the whole 4 issues of the glimpse of the future, the 4 to 6 pages where at the start. So I write all that completely, and then separate them into the 4 issues, and then write the main body after that.
Isn't that funny? It almost feels like the writing is like the smallest part of it, like compared to like sitting down. Like, I mean, I don't want to be flippant about it, but I mean, I can write a script relatively quickly, but then it's like, creating the Kickstarter and mailing out all the comic books and all that takes so much longer than the actual writing of the book.
Yeah, it is the Kickstarter itself, but I mean, I don't know how the artists do it. They take my little paragraph spiel and then they just like bring it to life. I mean, I could never do that. But yeah, the Kickstarter itself takes forever. Not just the campaign, it's getting the artist, getting the pages right, getting the lettering right, and creating the book, getting the digitals right, formatting it to print, getting the printing
like
right.
Out
Yep.
Comic book, yeah.
Yeah, it takes a while.
I mean, I used to do most of the art by myself, and each issue I kind of am outsourcing a little bit more of it, just because if I don't do that, it can just take forever,
Yeah, and I've always obviously I with my Kickstarters I've always given as much time for the delivery as possible. I usually give like 6 months because obviously I can't afford to have the book fully made for the backers. I wish I could, believe me, but I just don't have the funds to like spend $3,500 to an artist to make the pages on the off chance the Kickstarter is going to fund. I mean, I would stress so much more if that was the case. So yeah, but I do kind of give a lot of kind of let's say kind of a buffer for Ezekiel and Hernan, the artists, so they do have a deadline, but I'd rather have the quality. I don't want it rushed. And I mean, luckily Ezekiel was fantastic. I mean, he sent me the whole of like Ice and Bone 2 in a wanna, no sketches, and it was perfect. Didn't change a thing.
Wow.
And he did the same he's doing that now for all the novels he does for me, because we're so in sync that he did it for Ice and Bone 1, and I changed like one panel on the entire novel. So yeah, it's quicker that way, and I generally don't think I don't need any revisions because he takes what I and sometimes he changes it for the better. Like I put extra panels in there that are not needed.
Yeah.
So it's a great relationship, and I send him the script, give him the money, and then he sends me he sends me updates like yeah, I'm about halfway through, or like I'm on this page like 28, and it's like there's 32 or something like that.
Oh, so you don't get to see. You don't even get
Oh,
to see it until it's all
no,
finished.
which I kind of like because I get it as much as the reader. So when I see
Wow,
the whole book,
that must be a really good day, right? You
oh
get to sit
yes,
down and like.
it's nervous. It's very nervous. He sent me the Ice and Bone too, and I'm like, because there's some scenes in there that I really love. I actually even drew it kind of one of the scenes in paint, and it was terrible. But you know, if you buy the script, you can see it for yourself. So I sent him that, and he nailed it. Really cool. I was blown away by the pictures he did. So yeah, looking forward to the finishing the series off.
So I try to keep these episodes under an hour. So
Okay.
I'm just gonna run through the last few um, comments. Joe Bachman is saying the site is going through a bit of a remodel currently as updates have broken things, but it should still be viewable.
Okay.
Dan is saying writers need editors, even editors need editors. I say that in every writing panel I'm asked to do at conventions. Yeah, I agree. I think it's so I have an editor. I have an editor. I have two proofreaders, and I also go to a writers group who give me feedback. And what that does for me is sometimes in your head you think something makes sense, and then somebody else reads it and they say this does not make sense. And to me, showing my work to other people before it's printed is what that prevents.
Hmm, I get that.
And Carlos saying must run. Good luck, Aaron. And I think we're gonna run as well. Do you want to give like your social media out?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram. So Wroblewski Aaron. I do have Facebook groups for all the series I'm in. So type in Enenra, it'll come up with the Facebook group series. I do have one for Blood and Fire, Ice and Bone is in the same group, and I have one for Amor Patrice. It's probably a bit more difficult spelling, but it's spelled like it's pronounced. So hopefully you can find it. I do put like updates for all my series in each one. So if you join one, you will find updates for the other series as well.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. We will be back next week. I don't know yet who the guest will be, but I'm sure it'll be somebody great. Donna is saying good night, everybody. Or maybe we'll just have one of our guest lists nights next week. Dan says, excellent show. Thanks, Dan. Nice seeing you again, as always. Same to you, Donna. Same to everybody in the chat. And I think that does it for us tonight. Thank you, everybody who watched. I hope you guys watch again next week. Good
Thanks so
night.
much. Good night.
Okay.